to bring in Pennsylvania Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean, who is on the Judiciary Committee, also an attorney. Congresswoman, thank you for joining me. What is your reaction to what unfolded in the hearing this morning?
What I saw was a majority party trying to do its duty, its constitutional duty of oversight, and I saw a circus on the other side. We also saw an empty chair. Attorney General Barr chose not to cooperate, chose not to speak for the American people about the facts of the Mueller report and his obstruction of us getting that information. Remember, yesterday we were owed, the committee was owed the full documents under subpoena. The Department of Justice, and we have a letter from the Department of Justice, ignored that subpoena and instead chose not to come forward. The empty chair was really revealing to me because as I sat there in this grave moment, it reminded me that Mr. Barr is less and less relevant every single day. I care less about whether Mr. Barr comes before us. We now need to hear from the person who authored the report, Mr. Mueller. Mr. Barr has proven himself to be an attorney for the president, has obstructed our equal responsibility of oversight at this grave moment. So the empty chair said it all for me.
But he's not irrelevant. He is the Attorney General. And if you want to get all of the information out to the American people, who most likely are not going to read 400 pages, would a better strategy be to drop the demands and simply get Barr in that chair so you're in a position to reveal more to America all of the underlying issues that are in there? Because whether or not they reach criminality, there's a whole lot of unethical behavior.
What I think is important is that the judiciary has a right to run its fair committee hearings under our rules, not under the Attorney General's rules, not under the President's rules. So we'll fight for having the questioning before the full committee, including staff counsel. It's appropriate, it's right, it meets the gravity of this moment. So just because we didn't have Barr before us today does not mean that we will not be able to use the levers of our legal system to call him in contempt and to bring him before us. What I said was he's less and less relevant, and this is the reason why. As Mueller's own letters and telephone call apparently revealed, Mr. Mueller was very concerned about the mischaracterization by Mr. Barr of his report and its findings. That's what makes him less relevant, because he's not an honest broker of information. We'll have him before us. We still will do that. But much more important will be Mr. Mueller's testimony, Mr. McGahn's testimony. We have a duty to step down this road of constitutional oversight of an administration that is corrupt and chaotic. We're going to do our duty.
And you feel confident that you have the levers to get them to sit down, whether it's Bill Barr or Robert Mueller or Don McGahn?
Yes, we have the levers. We have subpoena power. But look at the flagrant disregard of our subpoena authority with Mr. Barr not producing the documents and not showing up today. We have the levers. Unfortunately, they're making it very, very ugly. And that's an administration that will have to answer. One of the things that the chairman said today is history will hold all of us accountable. Mr. Barr, Mr. Trump, but all of us on the Judiciary Committee, Republican and Democrat, history will hold us accountable. And what I want to be able to say is we did our duty. We uncovered the facts for the American people.
It is stunning that Robert Mueller, a truly chain of command type of guy, would take such efforts to write that letter, for that letter to make its way to the media. Clearly, Robert Mueller is disappointed or frustrated with how Bill Barr has handled those 400 pages. What are your expectations when and if you get that testimony from Robert Mueller?
Well, it tells you the seriousness with which he took the consideration of writing that letter. He knew that Mr. Barr was misrepresenting over and over again to the American people what was found in that report. And Robert Mueller, in the letter, worries about the confusion and calls out directly Mr. Barr to end the confusion that he is creating for the American people, saying no collusion, saying this is all over, nothing to see here. Mr. Mueller shows himself over and over again to be a very credible, honest broker of information on one of the most serious investigations that we could have, Russian interference with our election, and an administration and a president willing to obstruct justice. So I take that letter very, very seriously. Certainly he knew the gravity of it when he's coming out against the Attorney General for whom he works when he told him you're not giving the American people the truth.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.